Hi again folks, how's all doing? Welcome to In the Shed number 4. Let's see what I've been up to. First up is the old trying and double job lot that Phil sent me. The Jinty that I talked about in episode 3 needed a return trip to the bench. The wheel spacing was out, but that was easy sorted. The R1 that I showed you I was working on the last time, here it is with the bodywork patched up using some epoxy resin and then painted. I patched up the chimney using epoxy as well and fitted a white metal top and a correct screw. Also I fitted and painted white metal buffers front and back and finished it off by adding a new BR emblem to each side. So it certainly looks a bit more presentable now. The old DMU that Phil sent me was in a terrible state, really dirty inside and out. The seats were missing from the interiors of both cars. The window glass was misshapen and discoloured. The motor bogie really just needed a good clean and a service. I ground the flanges down on the drive wheels so it will run okay on modern track. I ordered up some 3D printed seats and cut out some new window glass from an old COVID testing kit box. Gave it all a good clean, and there she is back in running order. It still looks like what it is, an old play-worn Triang 101, and it could do with some new decals, but it's in running order now, which is the main thing. The old Britannia also took a bit of work to get back into running condition. Again, very dirty inside and out, but a good clean up, service, remagnetise, and she ran fine. I disabled the spoke unit both electrically and mechanically. I got some replacement smoke deflectors and a new smoke box door, and I fitted a spare rear axle and wheels to the front bogie, and she's now complete again, and runs not too bad at all considering. Old models like these will never run perfectly, but they're all runners now, which is what Phil asked me to do, so I'll get them packed up and sent back to him. This is the Hornby A4 Silver Fox that Ross handed over to me at the Dundee exhibition. It was in need of a good service, just a standard Ringfield service, but the axles on the locomotive were pretty gunked up and in dire need of a good clean and fresh lubrication. I thought that was going to be all this would need, but on test running I found it to be a very lumpy runner. After a lot of head scratching and examination, I eventually found that the articulated rear axle on the tender was a bit stiff and didn't really move all that freely. This was causing the tender to lift a little bit now and again, especially around curves. So I removed it and opened up the hole it pivots with, and that seemed to free it up fine. And after that, the locomotive runs very nicely. It's always worth looking at front and rear bogies of models if you have running issues. Try removing them and see what happens, but they're often the cause of lumpy running and derailments. Ross also handed over this Airfix 4F to me at the exhibition at Dundee. Haven't worked on one of these for a wee while, and they're always a bit of a fiddle. I gave the motor a good service, filed all the gears, cleaned everything up, but still ran a little hesitantly. I noticed that the locomotive wasn't balanced well and it was kind of tipping back and forth a little bit on the middle axle. So I filed out the recesses in the chassis for the middle axle so it would lift the wheels up a little bit, and that seemed to allow the model to sit on its 4 outer wheels and be a bit more stable and run much better. I also fitted a replacement buffer beam to the tender that was missing and fitted a new handrail to the cab that was also missing. Never the quietest runners, these old 4Fs, but they can't be beaten for traction, so a good model to have in your fleet. Jeffrey sent me this trying dock shunter as he said it just seemed to be shorting after he replaced the old headlight bulb with an LED unit. As soon as I removed the body I spotted the problem. The insulating sleeve on the positive brush was out of position. So shoved it back into place and off she went. An easy mistake to make and an easy fix. I gave the gears and bearings a wee oil and grease and that was that. Nice to see one of these wee shunters without any damage to the body, and the LED light works very well. This Hornby Hogwarts Castle was sent to me by Bernard. The front body fixing screw was broken, but on further inspection it turned out the double gear was split. I fixed the front screw hole with some epoxy and fitted a longer screw. I replaced the double gear and cleaned everything up, and I had hoped that that would be that. However, on test running the locomotive was very stoppy-starty, especially on curves and points. I was pretty sure the cause was the stupid traction tyres on the middle drive wheels. Whoever thought fitting traction tyres to middle drive wheels on a steam locomotive like this needed their head examined as far as I'm concerned. It remains one of the stupidest things Hornby have ever done. All it does is cause the model to be badly balanced, lose pickup and stumble about. Ideally you want to remove these altogether and grind the outer flanges down or replace the middle wheels. However, as this does have pickup on one side of the tender, I figured that if I could fit a pickup on the other side, then that might resolve the problem. So I've done that with a bit guitar string and I've wired both pickups direct to the DCC socket, but I'm still having trouble getting this thing to run properly. The wheel spacing was set way too wide, so I've adjusted that, but there's something not right about it running forwards, so I'm not done with it yet. And then in the process of messing around with it, the rear body fixing screw thread broke off and had clearly been glued in the past. I think this has maybe had a drop or something at some point. And then one of the wires became disconnected from the PCB. This is one of those models that just seems to be jinxed, and to be honest, if it was mine it would have been cast into the spares box by now. But I'll have another look at it and I'll persevere and I'll see if I can get this to run better. So we'll see in the next episode how I get on with it. So there you go, that's what I've been messing around with lately. We'll see next time if I can defeat the Hornby Hogwarts, and I'm sure there'll be some other tales to tell. Meantime, I shall catch you later. It's getting awfully cold.